All right, and we should be live. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another session with DentalShadowers. Today, we're joined by Dr. Haddad, who will be talking about cosmetic dentistry with us. Doctor, thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to connect. Please feel free to take it away whenever you're ready.
Well, I am so excited to be here. I'm honored that you guys reached out to me so that we could do some virtual shadowing. Before the pandemic, actually, I would always take in dental students or anyone who's interested in becoming a dentist into my office so where they could actually see me interact with the patients and kind of see like the day-to-day because that's exactly how I found out I wanted to be a dentist. So I'm actually very honored to do this. And today what we're going to do is we're going to talk, I'm just going to introduce you guys, about me, just give you a little background so you guys get to know me a little bit more. I want to talk about how did I get there. I want to give you guys advice that I wish I had. And then we're going to delve into biomimetic dentistry. And that is a kind of a specialty of dentistry that I really focus on. We'll go through some cases, and then if we have time, we'll do some question and answer session. So I am a cosmetic dentist. I practice in the West Hollywood, Beverly Hills area in California. I love it. It's so fun. I've been practicing for 8 years now. And like I said, my area of specialty is biomimetic dentistry, which I'll go into in the presentation. I graduated from USC, so any Trojans out there, fight on. I graduated in 2013, and you could see the quality of pictures from a couple of years ago is very different from what it is now. I am currently married. I've been happily married for 6 years. We have a 2.5-year-old. He's the cutest thing in the world. I never thought I would be the type who is all about, having kids. And I also at one point thought to myself, well, what if I just want to be a stay-at-home mom? And I realized how much I love dentistry. And the beauty of dentistry is that you can have a balance of both family and work-life balance. So that's my family. Here's my office. This is the office that's located again in West Hollywood, Beverly Hills. This was actually designed by my colleague, Dr. Victor Kajatorian. So we worked together, and this is all his idea. I give all the credit to him. He's worked hard, and he's provided a setting that allows patients to feel like they're not really at a dental office. And you can see just with the design aspect, we want to make it look like or feel like you're in a hotel, and just make it a different vibe in a sense. You don't see overlight heads. You can see that we have TVs mounted on the ceiling. So when patients are actually in the chair, they're able to enjoy a show, Netflix, a movie. We have some Beats headphones, so that helps to block any of the sounds. And then also they can hear whatever they're watching. So it's a pretty cool office, I might say. It's a little over a year old, so it's pretty brand new. And it's my second home. I love being there. It is so much fun. My patients, when they come in, they're just like in awe. And each day that I'm there, I'm in awe too. So I love it. It's beautiful. So my journey of becoming a cosmetic dentist, how did this happen? Guess what? I went to USC for my bachelor's. So I graduated in health promotion in 2008. And then I went for my master's. I did a year program in global medicine. I was the first graduating class of that program, and that was in 2009. And then I somehow magically ended up in dental school, graduated 2013. I did not plan on going to USC for everything. As you guys know, USC is really expensive. So you can only imagine how much my loans are right now. But, regardless, I enjoyed every moment, and it just worked out that way. So I am 100% Trojan. Sorry if anyone's in UCLA out there, but I still love you guys. I have a lot of patients from UCLA and colleagues and a lot of people that went to USC Dental School. The majority of the class actually graduated from UCLA in their bachelor's. And just to give you guys an idea, this is part of the process of, entering dental school. Obviously, people always want to know, well, what was your GPA? What was your DAT? And science was 3.6, DAT was 21. That is not the, complete like, hey, this is exactly what you need to have to get in. They obviously look at more than just these numbers. The most important factor that I always tell anyone who's interested in dentistry is you need to have passion for whatever it is that they want to do. You need to have passion in whatever it is that you end up choosing as a career option, okay? So how did I get here? I initially was going to I wanted to be a pediatrician. So I was going to go to med school. And then I thought to myself, what if I do physical therapy? I want to be a physical therapist. I had all these ideas and I knew I wanted to be in healthcare, but I wasn't sure what it was. And it wasn't until I shadowed and I looked into different career options that I figured what my passion was. And with whatever it is that you do on a day-to-day basis, passion is key for anything. And I love this quote from Tony Robbins. He says that there is no greatness without a passion for being great, whether it's the aspiration of an athlete, an artist, a scientist, a parent, a business person. So literally on all aspects of life, you should have passion. So that's the biggest thing. I practice with passion. I love what I do. I have found a love for cosmetic dentistry, specifically bonding, veneers, anything that just enhances the aesthetic of a person's smile. This was one of my very first bonding cases. I like to show it off because back then I was like, oh, this is the best thing ever. I worked hard, I prepared for it. So I love, showing this. And like I've mentioned before, I practice the biomimetic dentistry, and we're going to delve into that later on, but I'm sure most of you have heard of it. Do you guys know what biomimetic dentistry is? Anyone know?
I think a majority of our audience is, I guess, comes from the pre-dental community. So feel free to dive in.
Okay. Well, we'll go over the details in a little bit, but basically it's conservative dentistry. You can see with those photos, just doing a basic filling. The goal is to clean out and keep as much of the natural tooth structure as possible. And then the end product, which you see on the bottom, is to make it look like nothing's ever been done. So making sure that we are mimicking the nature or the natural look of the tooth. Okay. Part of passion is treating your patients like their family. Patients can feel whether or not you're working from your heart or not. And that's the biggest thing that I always tell colleagues, dentists, pre-dental students. Every patient that I see is someone that I would just take as if they were my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. And I would recommend the treatment as if, and treat them as if, they were my family. And so you can see here are more recent pictures with me in the mask. But just us having fun, enjoying time, treating them so well as if I want to be treated, making them feel comfortable. I'm such a baby as a patient. So when I go in as a patient to the doctor's office, I'm always, what are you doing? What's going on? How's this going to feel? So I really take that into consideration. As you can see, that's a huge part. So I want to talk about how I even got into this field. A lot of people always ask me, hey, would you recommend an AUGD? What would you do to get into this kind of subspecialty, even though it's not something you go to schooling extra couple of years like you do for endo or perio. But I was fortunate enough to be mentored by a faculty member at USC, and he was the one who connected me to this practice that I initially started with, WLA Dental Center in West LA, and it is owned by Dr. Abdi Samani. He is an international speaker. He was faculty at USC as well, and his field or subspecialty is Biomimetic dentistry, conservative dentistry. So these are things that I'm actually going to go over with you guys today in terms of what I've went through and things I've wished I've done. So I'll let you know what my background is, and then, you know, what I would have done now knowing what the field is like. So the most important aspect here is having mentors. So before I even started dental school, I wanted to shadow a dentist. Dr. Timothy Saunders was a dentist who allowed me to shadow him, and I'm so forever grateful for his time. And that's why I give back now, of course, pre-COVID and what I'm doing now. I've done sessions like this for students because that's what helped me make the decision. So I'm giving back just like Dr. Saunders did. And Dr. Alvin Rosenblum was a faculty member at USC. I met him the first day I started. He was the one who really helped pave the way in terms of meeting the main mentor, who is Dr. Abdi Samani, and I'll show you a picture right now. Dr. Samani took years and hours and days just to, you know, be with me and mentor me on each case. And it really was like a AGD, and even better because I was in a private practice setting and I was able to have someone to go to if I ever had questions, because when you finish dental school, you only know the basics, you know, there's so much more to learn. So I was very fortunate enough to have him by my side and help teach me techniques, expose me to great CE courses, just get me involved in the community of biomimetic dentistry. So I owe a lot to him. And I am forever grateful because he literally is a person on my shoulder. Every time I'm doing a procedure or whatnot, I can feel like I'm, you know, talking to him about it or going through the steps with him or the techniques. And, you know, he was the one who I had discussed before I had graduated. Hey, what do I do? Do I apply to an AGD? I was in the process of doing it. And I had the opportunity of working with him. And so I ended up taking that route right out of dental school, which was great. So like I said before, I ended up shadowing and interning. I explored different offices. I went to fast-paced offices. I went to slow-paced. I went to different specialties, really just to kind of narrow down what it is that I wanted to do. And that's what helped me make a confident decision in terms of how to move forward, you know, within my dental career. Again, like I said, I have students come in. Here's a student who before was my assistant, and she got into dental school. And so I have her come in whenever she can. It's a little limited now because of COVID, but yeah, she'll come in and we'll go through techniques, instruments and whatnot. A huge part of my success in my post-schooling was the involvement in school. So a lot of people in dental school will just let me just graduate, let me just get to the minimum requirements and get those pieces out of the way. And then they literally have months of where they're not doing anything. Even though I got done with my requirements, I kept practicing as much as possible. Dentistry is called the practice of dentistry for a reason. It's all about practice. It is very important. The more cases you do, the more exposure you have, the more confident in knowing how to take care of the patient, how to manage the tooth, the case, what piece to pick, what not to go, you know, just all of that. And dentistry is constant learning. So instead of saying, let me finish all my requirements and let me just relax, I would suggest that you do more rather than less while you're in school. This is my, my group cell, and this was one of the first pictures we took. I feel like the first month of dental school. So this is us as first years. We're super excited. We look really young, but it's so much fun. So these are memories you'll never forget. I took a lot of continuing education courses, and this is something I highly, highly recommend. Whether you are a pre-dental student, a dental student, or of course you've graduated and you're out in the real world, I suggest that you take courses. Even if you are a pre-dental student, some courses will give student discounts and even let you take the course for free because you are a student, and that's something I did. And I was grateful for, because once you graduate dental school, you actually have to pay for these courses, and it is pretty expensive. So take advantage, learn as much as you can, get exposed to as much as you can. This allows you to just broaden your knowledge and really see what it is that you enjoy doing. So this is me doing a hands-on course at the Beverly Hills Dental Lab, and you know, my whole thing is always just learning, because I can always be better. A huge part of dentistry is you're not alone. You're not doing this alone. You are here to get help. You're here to work with specialists. You know, you're going to have referrals. So build a team with your colleagues. This is a picture of me and my colleagues. One of them owns Silicon Beach Dental, the other is Vicente Dental, and the right is Dr. Fung, and they both went to USC. They were a couple years ahead of me, but we've taken courses together. We practice in a similar fashion in biomedical dentistry, and so we're always connected. And then here is a group picture of some people that I work with currently. Dr. Kajatorian, my partner in crime, who's the one who owns that office. He does awesome work as well. And then to the far left, we have Dr. Jabber. He is an anesthesiologist. So any of the cases that we have, any big cases that need to go under sedation, he's the one in charge. And to the right, one of the periodontists we work with, Dr. Shervin Malayam. And so, you know, your team also consists of your front staff, your assistants. That is the core, your hygienist. I mean, that's very, very important. So it is important to establish that, you know, once you've gone through your dental school and whatnot. Community involvement. So being involved in giving back is a huge thing. It's also a way for me to learn even more and more and to help others like they've helped me. I was once a student. I was mentored by these faculty members, and after I got about 5 years of experience out in the real world as a dentist, I decided, hey, let me give back because I had a good base of knowledge. So I was involved in being a faculty member with Pascal, and I helped teach the first year dental students dental morphology, which is a basic course, but once you kind of go back into it, you realize how much you can give back, what pertinent knowledge you can give to the dental students, because at the end of the day, they're probably in there and they're saying, hey, why do I have to carve this tooth? Why do I have to wax it up? This is weird. Like, why do I have to learn this? And I'm able to kind of give more information, more feedback based on the real world, you know? So, and this is Pascal Money. I don't know if any of you, I'm sure you guys have heard of him. He's really big in biomimetics. He is amazing. He is the godfather of biomimetics, and I'll go into a little bit more later, but it was such an honor and a pleasure to work with him. He is so passionate. If I'm talking about passion, he has passion in what he does. And that's what he lives for. That is why he does what he does. So really, I commend him, and was great to be a part of this team, even for a little bit of time, because I did get pregnant a little right after I did teach that morphology course, my first baby. Again, I was part of the LA Dental Symposium. It's an international CE course. And I'm currently a part of the Aesthetic Excellence Study Club of the Beverly Hills Dental Lab. Again, these are all great clubs and associations and organizations, even as a pre-dental student, to get in touch with, see if there's anything that they can do to offer for you guys in regards to learning or whatnot. If you guys have questions, it's very good to be involved in that manner. So after all that, that's kind of what I've done and what I would recommend, but what would I have done as a dental student to prepare me more as a dentist? And this is something I love to let my pre-dental, the students that are interested in dentistry know. If you're a freshman or sophomore, look into all career options, okay? What does that mean? Don't just focus on the sciences, but really, if you have a summer off or time in between, your class schedule, something I did, which was really random, but it was an interest of mine, was interning in the music industry. So I interned at MTV, BET. I had that opportunity at USC. That was pretty cool. So that was something that I loved because it allowed me to realize that my future career that I'm investing all my time, my finances in, is going to be dentistry, and that the music industry would be something that was a little bit more for fun and not long-term. So that's kind of an example. I would take a business class or major or minor in it. I wish I had that time, or I wish I knew that, because that would have been so helpful. We focus so much on the aspects of dentistry and techniques and procedures and learning all that, but no one ever teaches you the business side. You learn the business side after years of being in practice and making mistakes and whatnot. So if I could have just taken like basics of the business class, that would have been awesome. An art class. Dentistry, believe it or not, is very much related to art. It's a form of usable art, okay? You're basically creating and helping someone speak, function, eat. So that is very, very important. Make sure you enjoy art, because when I am actually working on a patient, I feel like they are my masterpiece, as weird as that sounds. It's really fun for me. It's my time where I kind of get away. I'm just doing like a filling or bonding, whatever it is. It is so much fun for me. And I always sound nerdy when I talk to patients, and they can tell, like, wow, I can tell you really enjoy this, but it's a huge aspect. Photography is huge in dentistry now. I mean, not only are you taking photos for Instagram, but you are taking photos for the lab, the patient. It's a form of communication. It's your third eye, where when you take a photo through a camera lens, you can actually look at your work and evaluate your work and see the very fine details. So photography skills is it's a must now. Videography, that's up and coming. I was telling that I had taken videos of procedures, and I wish I was able to incorporate them into the lecture, just because it would have been fun to kind of see that procedure live. So I've taken screenshots of the videos, but if anyone needs videos, I can easily send that over. But videography is huge. Understanding computer systems and software. A lot of dentistry is now digital. It's all incorporated in digital software. So scanning, 3D scanning. You have your records, which are now all digital based, all computer based. Nothing is paper. So I would really highly suggest that you get yourself comfortable with computer systems, Apple, PCs, all that stuff. And I think it's very much part of, today's way of learning and all that. So compared to when I had graduated. But visiting dental labs, this is something that not a lot of people think about, because dental labs are a huge way of getting to know what's out there, how your crowns, inlays, veneers are being made. What is the process? And as a dentist, acknowledging what the ceramist or the dental lab needs from us. So this is a great way of really getting to know the dental community, learning if the dental lab allows you to visit them, and just kind of seeing another aspect of dentistry that you will be dealing with if you are going into cosmetic dentistry. And like I said, shadowing office specialists, I mean, that was the way that I was able to determine okay, what specialty am I going to? How do I want my office to actually work on a day-to-day basis? You know, do I want a more fast-paced? Do I want a slow-paced? What area do I want to delve into in dentistry? So this was great. All right, so we're gonna go through learning about biomimetic dentistry, which most of you guys, I'm sure, know a lot about. And again, biomimetic dentistry is all about imitating life. So if you break down the word, bio means life, mimic means to duplicate, so to imitate life. And the most important thing is that you're imitating the nature and providing treatment to preserve that natural tooth structure and restore the function of the natural tooth structure. And it allows you to treat a weak, fractured, or decayed tooth in a way to keep them bonded very well and sealing them from bacteria, instead of just cutting down teeth for crowns and, you know, creating root canal treatments, which are highly avoidable now with the techniques that are out there. The core philosophies with biomimetic dentistry, it's all about preserving and mimicking the various properties of a natural tooth structure. So again, you're looking at the biomechanics of a tooth, the biology of the tooth, the function, and also how it looks, the aesthetic. Alrighty. So a little bit of history. History is always boring, but this is kind of good to know. The principles of biomimetic dentistry were developed by researchers at universities, and you can see they're listed. 1955 is when the first published article came out about the acid etch technique, the adhesive dentistry, and the first mention of biomimetics in the field of dentistry was credited to Pascal Monnier, who you saw a picture of earlier and who I mentioned before. To the right, you can see the book that he has put together, Biomimetic Restorative Dentistry, but he's the one who really innovated the concept and brought this approach to and presented it to dentists who now a variety of dentists practice this approach. And like I said, his first textbook explained the concepts of biomimetic dentistry. I highly suggest, if you have not read this book, I have a copy of myself. It is so helpful. I still refer to it when I'm doing certain procedures. I just want to refresh, but I would, write this down and highly take a look at this book and study it, because it's going to be something that you're going to be exposed to. What are the advantages of biomimetic dentistry? I love it so much because I'm able to preserve tooth structure. I'm able to keep what nature had made. There's nothing better than your own tooth structure at the end of the day. Nothing can replace nature. Nature is unreplaceable. And unfortunately, teeth can't. I've had questions to where patients go, hey, can my teeth kind of regrow? And that just does not happen. So the practice of dentistry with biomimetics is to preserve what you have, minimize the pain and sensitivity, so we're not drilling aggressively near that root, and eliminating, which allows us to eliminate unnecessary root canals. It allows us to even restore teeth with very limited remaining structure, which is awesome. I mean, I've restored teeth that were near the gum line. I was able to build it up, save that, instead of extracting it and implanting it. And you get an optimal seal, you prevent failures, and you can maximize adhesion by up to 400%. So there's a lot of advantages. I have been practicing it for about 8 years, and it's been very, very, very successful. I've made so many patients happy to where, they were excited that they didn't have to get an implant, or they were able to save the tooth structure. And that's very, very big. I mean, imagine someone telling you, hey, you got to pull this tooth. It's pretty traumatic. So important terms in biomimetic dentistry, the layers of the tooth structure. You have your enamel, which is the first layer, your dentin, which is the second. Etch, prime, and bond, those are the steps of preparing a tooth structure for adhesive dentistry. There's that acid etch technique, adhesive revolution, again, minimizing tooth preparation, maximizing pulp vitality, and in Pascal Monier's words, less dentistry is the best dentistry. The smaller you can remove that tooth structure, the better, because you are, again, conserving that nature. So what is a typical day? My schedule is 8 to 5. I, by the way, practice part-time. I'm a part-time dentist. I'm a part-time mom. That makes me super unique in that I don't practice full-time. Before I had a baby, I was practicing full-time. And once I had a baby, I slowly cut down my schedule. It's been such a great balance because I'm able to just care for my patients and focus on work when I'm at work. And then when I'm with my baby, I'm able to enjoy time with him and focus on him. So dentistry has been so great for me as a female, and it just gives me so much flexibility to where I am maintaining a work-life balance, and I'm doing something I enjoy, I studied for, I paid and took out loans for, and I'm continuously interacting with so many people that I get to make happy as well. And then I also have that option of, being with my baby and enjoying time teaching him and just watching him grow, which is a huge part of life. I mean, we could just be busy with work at all times, but let's talk about my day. So we schedule patients 8 to 5. We have a lunch break in the middle. So I will try to arrive at the office between 7:30, 7:45. I actually leave before my baby and my husband both wake up. So I just focus on my day. I get my breakfast. And then once I get to the office, I do a little huddle with my assistants. We discuss the day and we make sure everything's ready to go. And I'm very fortunate enough where my schedule is not completely packed. I see about 1 to 3 patients in the morning session. And then we have a lunch break. And then I see about 1 to 3 patients in the afternoon. So really a maximum of 2 to 6, at most 8 patients that I see a day, where I get to do, procedures, and I allot a good amount of time for each procedure. So let's say I'm doing a filling, I allot about an hour. If I'm doing, an on-layer crown, that would be about 2 hours. And then if I'm seeing a new patient or doing an exam, about an hour. So it just depends on the case, depends on the patient. But the beauty of how I practice is that I'm able to really take my time, focus on each patient, get detailed documentation, and just enjoy my time to where I don't feel like I'm constantly rushing. So once I am done with the day, I have to complete notes. If I haven't done that during my lunch break or throughout the day, I take photos of every procedure that I actually complete. So I have to upload photos into their records. I write referrals, check emails, and then I get to go home, have dinner with my husband and my baby. So what kind of complaints do patients present with? A lot of times when patients come to me, it's a lot to do with, hey, I have a fractured tooth. I'm going to show you a couple of cases, which is pretty cool. I had so many cases that I wanted to show you guys. And I wish we had that time. But again, if you guys have questions, you guys are more than welcome to contact me after this dental shadowing. But fractured teeth, white spots, gaps between teeth. They want to improve the way that their teeth color looks, the shade. They want to improve the shape, the position. So that's what I get a lot of. Again, here's someone who presented to me with a fractured tooth. Here you can see someone with a white spot. They said they want to get rid of that. And then here we have a patient who had old composite bondings. You can see the discoloration in the front, and she just wanted to improve the look of those. So what kind of procedures do we perform to correct that? Well, we do composite veneers, bondings, porcelain veneers, composite fillings, something called icon treatment, onlays, inlays, crowns, and I will be going over a couple of these procedures. Okay, so what instruments do I use? I always have a camera. I have my my Nikon camera, and then you can see my setup. I have the rubber dam. It's literally as if you went to dental school is how it's set up. You have the OptiBond, you have glycerin, etch, prime, bond. I do the 3-step technique instead of the all-in-one. And my composite instruments, you can see the red, blue, green. Those are from dental school, and they've been really the best that I've tried out there. Soft flex discs, which you see on the upper left corner, rubber dam clamps. And then to the right, that's my composite box, which has a variety of shades. I don't just use A1, A2 and call it a day. I have the enamel shade, I have the dentin shade. So that took a lot of practice as well, learning that. That's something you don't learn in dental school. It's something you learn in private practice when you're exposed to it. And by far my favorite instrument ever is called an oscillating tip. Not everyone uses it because it's pretty expensive, but it is a must for me because if I'm going to practice biomimetic dentistry, this allows me to just have very clean surfaces. It allows me to just remove a very tiny amount of tooth structure without using the drill. So this guy is my best friend. It's with every procedure that I go through, I do utilize this. And the technology, the new technology in Biomimetic is microscope dentistry. That just allows you to get more detail in the procedures. And this is something I'm practicing. It is hard, I will tell you. My colleague is way better at it than I am. So this is a great technology, and you have the 3D scanning. The camera, like I said, is my other best friend because it allows me to see before and after, show the patient, educate them, look into the detail of what it is that we're doing. Milling units, so forth and so on. There's so much just constantly involving in dentistry. All right, let's go through cases. Here we go. This is a case that I had at the beginning of my career, which was really fun. I had a patient who came in, actually was referred to me by a patient of mine. It was his grandfather who said, hey, my 9-year-old, grandson fractured his tooth. His mom can't afford to fix his tooth. And I said, you know what? It was around Christmas too. I said, you know what? For Christmas, bring him in. I'm going to treat him. And they don't have to worry about paying, but I want to help this young man. So he came in. Luckily, they had soaked those pieces. You can see the broken pieces in milk, and he's pretty straightforward, very healthy. This was the exact fracture. The beauty of this is he's so young. He's still growing. He's developing. So at the end of the day, a beautiful technique that's through Biomimetic is being able to actually take those pieces if a patient has them, prepare them, and bond them back. So I'm actually going to show you the steps and what it looks like after. So first thing that I did is I took the piece that he had presented with. I took those pieces, I prepared them. So you want to be very delicate with this. You first try them in to make sure they fit properly before you do anything at all. And if they do, then you know, okay, perfect. I have the pieces like a little puzzle. You prepare those pieces and you go ahead and you prepare the actual tooth structure. So you can see here, I'm using something called I'm micro etching the tooth with a sandblaster. And that allows me to just clean the surface very well. I've placed the rubber dam, which you can see, and I went ahead and I light cured the pieces together with just a piece of dentistry, etch, prime, and bond. That is the finishing result. So you could see that I have basically put together his tooth, and he was so excited. He was so happy because his classmates were making fun of him at school, which was really sad. So when he saw that his tooth was all put together. His mom was so happy, gave me the biggest hug. And it looks really nice. I mean, it looks like nothing ever happened. And at least this would allow him to continue to grow. You always have to monitor this tooth because it had trauma. So throughout the years, taking x-rays, making sure that it does not create an abscess is what you need to be aware of. And of course, he has to kind of treat it like a veneer or like a filling. He can't just bite into an apple. He has to be very careful. But throughout everything, it's still there. It's still functioning. And that just tells you a lot about adhesive dentistry if it's done right. And you can see that's him. He was super happy. And that was his Christmas gift from me to him. So case number 2, white spot treatments. I don't know if you've seen white spots that were, either developed when patients were younger or after they had braces is a very common way. But this is pretty cool because this is a treatment that some people don't even know about, but it's called ICON, and it's an infiltration system. And so this is a breakthrough dental treatment to treat white spots, and it allows you to remove white spots without drilling or anesthesia. Okay, so it's pretty cool. You can see the before photo on the top and then the after. I have a lot of cases that patients come in for me to help treat these areas. And here's another before and after. So you can see that I was able to just conserve the tooth structure, but remove those white spots that patients have lived with for a majority of their life. Here's another one. Again, the top tooth on the right, you can see that large white spot, and then the final treatment there. This is a more focused image of that same patient. You can see a little bit better. And look at how beautiful her tooth structure is. I mean, I don't have to drill that. I don't have to put a veneer or a crown. That's something that you would have done in the past. And she was super excited. Again, a white spot is called decalcification. And you can see with that arrow pointed exactly how it's affected more of the surface layer, and the more shallower that defect is, the more successful this ICON treatment is. This is where I had a video for you guys to actually see it live in action, but unfortunately I wasn't able to incorporate that into my presentation. So the cool thing is that it is a 1-visit procedure. It does not require numbing or any shots because, again, I'm not removing, I'm not drilling anything. And what you do essentially is you put that rubber dam on, like you see, you go ahead and you have to clean the surface first, make sure it's free from plaque. And what you do is you place the etch from the package that it comes in. So that white spot is treated at least 3 times. And every time you place that solution on, you wait about 2 minutes. What it does is it just removes, it's an acid, right? So it removes the outer remineralized layer of the enamel that has been blocked before from calcium and other ions from entering the tooth. So once you do that, you go ahead and you rinse the tooth with water, you dry it out. Then you go ahead and you place a drying agent. So it's called Icon Dry. And it's basically ethanol. It allows you to visualize the tooth to make sure that it is completely, that white spot is gone. If it's not gone, what you do is you again reapply the etch, you wait a couple minutes, you're rubbing that area, you rinse, and you keep doing this. You don't want to do it more than like 7 times because then you'll really get down into that second layer. So like I said, 3 to 6, at most 7 is from the studies that have been lectured to me from courses. And then once you've removed that white spot, you go ahead and you place the resin infiltrant, okay? And so that basically helps to seal the tooth after what you've done. And you allow that to soak in for 3 minutes. You remove the excess, so here it is, it's soaking. You remove it for 3 minutes. Remove that excess material, light cure it, and then you can add material if you need to. If more layers were removed than anticipated. You cure it, you put glycerin, and you finish it with polishing discs or boards. So the procedure takes about I would say 45 minutes to an hour. So you just have to be really patient. So the next case here, this is case number 3. Another technique that I love, procedure that I love doing is composite bonding. You can see the before and after. This is done with filling material, resin. So you can see that we've improved just the lengths of 8 and 9, and as well as 7 and 10. And it just comes out to a very natural outcome here. Here's another option, another case where I did a mock-up. So this is a patient that came in and had some work done from a previous dentist and ortho, and she wanted evenness of her teeth. And you can see that just within minutes, the after photo is me just adding with material to the patient, just visualizing what it would look like if we were to do bondings or any other type of like veneers or whatnot. But in this case, we want to do bondings. And she was able to she was so excited. She didn't even want to take off what I had just placed in a couple of minutes. I told her, I'm like, it's not permanently in, so we were just going to fracture off. But it's a beautiful, beautiful technique that I love doing. Here's an example, a step-by-step process of exactly how I go ahead and I do the case. And again, I had videos associated with these cases that I wanted to show you. So these are just snippets. But what I do is I place the rubber dam, I clean out any previous filling material that they had, a cavity. If it's fractured tooth, I just clean out that surface. And before actually I put a rubber dam, I go ahead and I will pick the shade of composite. So I will actually put a little ball of composite on the tooth structure so that I can actually see if it matches or not. I'll light cure it, take photos, and from there I'm able to then say, okay, confidently, once I prepare the tooth and I actually permanently place the final resin bond, it's going to look good and it's going to match nicely. There are some times where you pick a shade, you get done with the case, you see them in 2 weeks and the shade might be a little off. The beauty of it is you can always go ahead, go back in there, clean it up, redo it. But this is a great way to eliminate that so you're not doing any guesswork. So rubber dam, I go ahead and I cover the surfaces that with Teflon tape, and I etch. And I typically like to do one tooth at a time. So I will use most of the time what's called Clear Fill Protect from SC, and it is my prime and bond. So I go ahead and I apply that to the tooth after I've etched. You can see that I'm applying prime and bond. I then light cure it. Okay. And then I place the material of composite that I had decided to go with. So here you can see that I was using an A2 shade from GC Color. Once I get done, I polish each tooth. I use soft Lexus and strips to make sure everything's clean. And the beauty of bonding is that I can go from this case here to a very natural look here. So within one appointment, you have the final results. Patients are so excited. Again, I had videos of their reactions, and it's really my favorite part. I always bring them back a couple weeks later just to check their bite, make sure everything looks nice, let the teeth rehydrate because they were sitting there for a couple of hours. But the great thing is that they don't have to sit and worry about being in temporaries, fracturing anything, so forth and so on. So we are at the end of my presentation. I feel like it went by really fast and I had so many more cases that I wanted to show you guys, but biggest advice to future dentists. And this is something I wish I told myself and I knew, because the biggest thing that I went through is I worried a lot. So don't worry, it all works out. Don't compare yourself to others. It's a big thing that I think we do, we've always done, and we do a lot now with social media being out there, Instagram, Facebook, so forth and so on. But really focus on yourself. Everyone is so unique. Everyone is out there. There's a purpose for each person. And so you just need to find your purpose. Focus on yourself. Work hard. You can't, things are not just going to get handed to you. Okay. You really have to put your time, dedication, and that's really how I got to where I got to, is the amount of work that I am constantly putting in any aspect of life. The more work you put in, the more of an outcome, a positive outcome you'll have. Enjoy every moment. Enjoy life. Life is short, you know. Just within a matter of 2 years, we had COVID that all of a sudden shut everything down, and you know, you just don't know what happened. So enjoy being in class with others. You know, enjoy being with people, with your family, your friends, your loved ones. And lastly, enjoy being a student. It was really a beautiful time in my life. I have the greatest memories from just being a student, and you never get it back. So enjoy it. Work's always there. Work is fun if you make it fun. But being a student, you just have a more flexible schedule. You have all these activities. You get to interact with so many people. You meet so many people on a day-to-day basis, and you get to learn. Learning is going to be constant throughout your life. So never stop learning. Other than that, I really appreciate you having me again. I had such a fun time putting this together. I love really giving back, and I hope you guys got a lot out of this as well. Follow me on my Instagram. It's Dr. Jennifer Haddad. I'm always, you know, showing cases and just showing my day-to-day in regards to how it is being a dentist, a mom. And I also have my website. If you guys need anything, drjenniferhaddad.com. You guys are more than welcome to reach out to me via Instagram, DM me for any questions. So
yeah, that was fantastic. Feel free to leave up that last slide so our viewers know where to find you. Okay. But Dr. Haddad, I just want to say that was, I guess, incredibly comprehensive. Thank you so much for sharing with us such a wealth of insight and for categorizing it with the presentation title. I guess I can start off with a question. How was your transition from undergrad to dental school? Did it take some time to sort of adjust to the curriculum, to, I guess, the schedule? Do you have any, I guess, insight that you'd like to share?
You know, the transition, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is mine was a little comfortable because I went from being at USC to going to USC. So that alone,
right.
Just, you know, knowing the campus, even though it's graduate school, was a comfort of mine that, hey, I was, you know, still in an environment that I know where things are at. It's not a completely new one. It felt like going back to high school, I would say, because you went from undergrad where every semester you would start a new class, you'd have a new set of people, and you'd meet a lot of people, and then you go to graduate school, which you have a certain number of people in your class, and those are the same people you go year after year for 4 years. So the transition, I mean, the first 2 years are mostly like the science classes that you've taken, so it's kind of a review. The new part is the dental, like the lab, the hands-on. So that was, you know, either students love it or they don't. You know, it's one of those things that you really get to, some students that were in my class, they were like, dentistry is not for me. I'm not good at this hands-on stuff. I was really good at studying and you know, learning and whatnot, but that part was, I think, a little bit of a transition. Learning the materials that and the tooth numbers was so hard for me. It's like learning an alphabet all over again. And it's the most basic thing. Now looking back, I mean, when I talk about teeth, it's like, you know, my basic language. But when I first started, I was like, tooth number 1, 2, what's mesial, what's distal? I mean, I feel like, you know, dental students or pre-dental students have such an advantage now, because there's so many opportunities out there that allow you to really learn all these things. And I wish I had taken like a pre-dental course, so that when I got to dental school, I felt like, okay, I'm not so confused, I'm not lost. That was the biggest transition for me, I would say, just learning the basics.
Right. Just before I hand it off to Abraham, our chat moderator, just to segue off of what you said, you mentioned that I guess a common grudge that dental students have is the transition from the sciences, the didactics to I guess the hands-on work it can be overwhelming. Did you have any, I guess, manual dexterity experiences in undergrad that you found to be particularly helpful, or did you sort of just hit the ground running and I guess acclimate to working with your hands?
I mean, I hit the ground running and just started working with my hands. But I think the biggest thing is I knew I loved art. So I'm very much all about, like, I love building things, like, you know, if it's something you have to put together, a desk or something like that. Like, I love doing that. And I was very technical. I love to draw. So that aspect alone, like, I already had that integrated in what it is and who I am, you know? And I would say that as a person, you would have to decide, okay, do I love art? Do I not? Is this for me? And I think you'll naturally have that manual dexterity. Now with pre-dental organizations, I've helped to also recommend like waxing a piece of soap. I mean, that's something we did as dental students, you know, just playing with something simple like that, that allows you to practice, you know. But yeah, hit the ground running. It's not something you can prepare for necessarily.
Right. Ibrahim, I guess I can toss it off to you. I think there might be a question in the chat.
Yeah, sounds good. First of all, thank you so much for the presentation. It was very informative. I love how like in depth you went about cosmetic dentistry and like showed like, you know, every aspect of it, and biomimetic dentistry as well. Like that was really interesting. Now we got a question right here in the chat. This person asked, what is the process like to ask to join a practice as a second dentist?
You know, the process is, I mean, it happens very organically. To be honest, just through relationships of my colleagues and, you know, friends. I mean, there isn't an equation necessarily of, hey, this is exactly how it works. It just really happens very naturally. And that's really what happened with me is I ended up meeting Dr. Victor Kajatourian at a CE course, and we were talking about patient cases. We're just, you know, going into dental details and whatnot. And that's how I initially got to meet him, realizing that he went to USC. He knows a bunch of my friends. He knows some of my friends. And it was, like I said, a very organic relationship. So, you know, networking, like I said, a huge, huge part of dentistry is that you're not alone. I mean, you have to make that connection of working with others. It's a community. We're here to help each other. It's not just, hey, I did this and I did that, and I, you know, my knowledge, my success, that's all from others who are helping me. So, but very natural relationships that were formed.
Totally.
Yeah, and just
understand.
to, I guess,
sorry about that.
just to segue off of what you said about having a network of colleagues. You mentioned earlier in your presentation the value of having mentors by your side. And I guess in hindsight, have you changed your opinion on, I guess, graduate or I guess postgraduate courses like, you know, GPRs or AEGDs?
Not necessarily. I actually applied to GPR and AEGD, believe it or not. I interviewed UCLA, and I was at a stage where, you know, to myself as a dental student that just graduated, I'm like, what do I do? Like, do I feel confident enough to go into private practice? And really the opportunity I had is not an opportunity that a lot of people are just presented with. And obviously I did not just practice for WLA. I also did work at PDS. I worked at different offices that were fast-paced, slow-paced. It really is important to, like, again, it's kind of like shadowing, right? So you have to put yourself in that position to decide what is it that you want for your life? How do you want your work environment to be. And I learned a little bit from everyone. So that was really my, like I said, that mentorship was available to me. It was an opportunity that came about. I even asked Dr. Samini, I said, hey, like, what would you have me do? Should I do an AEGD? Should I do a GPR? And I think it's great. I think those programs are great. If you feel like you need more practice, it does not hurt to go into those. And you're going to learn more regardless. You're going to be exposed to more. You get more time to work with faculty members, ask questions. You just have to gauge what position you are and what opportunities are presented to you at that time. And like I said, everyone is different. So you have to do what's best for you. Do your research, apply. I think it's a great way to, get more exposure to different environments, and it'll give you more of a background of what you like, what you don't like, and also learning. I have a lot of colleagues who've gone through AEGD and they were exposed to more complex cases than you do get in dental school, but I was able to get that kind of form of education with the practice I worked at. So it was very much set up like school. So that was very helpful.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, so we're looking at the chat right now. We got another question. This person asked, is there anything you placed in your application that contributed to you standing out or starting a conversation during your interview process for dental school?
With dental school, the biggest thing was, so for example, I got into USC. I think what made me stand out is the amount of involvement I had with pre-dental activities and also doing other unique things. So in my undergraduate career, like I said, I interned in the music industry. I put that in my application because I was able to write about how dedicated I am to the dental field and that I know I want to be in dental school. So doing things just, not dental related is also very helpful, and showing them that you are interested in the field itself. So really, do yourself a favor and just look at all the career options, because the one thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that if I was in dental school, medical school, PT school, whatever it was, that I was utilizing my time appropriately and I wasn't just wasting my finances either. And that I really was 100% confident. It's really hard to know all the time. I mean, when someone who's an undergrad is asked, hey, what do you want to do? I came in as an undecided freshman. I changed my major 3 times. I mean, talking to someone who I didn't know I was going to become a dentist, So the way I found out is from really going into different internships, exploring different career options. And that's what makes me super confident. And that's, I think, what made me stand out.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. That was very informative. And thank you for your, like I said, in-depth presentation, as well as, answers to these questions.
Of course. Do you guys have any other questions that I can help you guys with?
I think
we're good to go.
Yeah, I think the presentation was so comprehensive that it just answered any questions, I guess, off the bat. I guess that was my interpretation. But Dr. Haddad, thank you so much again for such a wonderful presentation. And again, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to connect with us and share your experience and background. We would like to wish you a productive year. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. You guys, good luck. And if you guys need anything, you guys know where to find me. So I really appreciate this opportunity. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care.
You too. Take care. Thank you.